Hey guys, I know I haven't made a video in forever, and I hate to make this on such a sad day. Now that we lost Chris Cornell, I'm in shock, but I just wanted to say a few things that to remember Chris that I think are important. I know he had such a huge impact on my life, as I'm sure he did on many of yours. Um, I got to meet him once, and it was actually on my wedding night a few years ago, and I think it really speaks to the kind of person he was, because I always heard he was such a nice guy. I never got the chance to meet him. I just saw Soundgarden for the first time 2 weeks ago. I think that's what also makes it so shocking, is I never expected him. I mean, no, none of us expected him to die at 52, so young. Um, but a couple years ago, I went out to a steakhouse down here in Florida with my parents and my wife at the time, and we had a nice dinner. Everything, we're having steak, we're having champagne, and everything was going fine. It was a fun night, and at the table next to us, I could hear someone talking, and I look down. I see these big black boots. He's really tall. I see his kid over there, and I'm thinking, that's Chris Cornell. I knew it right from the start. I didn't need anything else. I didn't need to see his face or anything. I knew it was him. And at first, I thought that my wife and my parents had set up something, and for him to pop in or something crazy like that, because my wife and I were both huge fans. We were nuts about Chris and Soundgarden and everything. So I thought they had set something up, and I was so nervous I couldn't even talk. I didn't even know what to do. Um, but it turns out it wasn't any kind of a setup. It was just complete random chance. He happened to be there that night, and so he goes out to the bar. And my wife says, "Oh, you know what? I'll go see if it's really him." I knew I didn't need any validation. She's like, "Yeah, let me go talk to him." So she goes up to meet Chris at the bar, and she just goes up to him and says, "Chris?" And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Did I do something wrong?" So like he, he's just trying to be a nice guy, have a nice dinner. He didn't want to, he seemed like a real nice guy and everything. And so my wife was like, no, 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 um, we just didn't know if it was you, and she says, I don't want to bother you or anything, but it'd be really cool if it was no problem if you had a minute to if you could take a picture with me and my husband. We just got married. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, so he comes back, and this is the first time I get to see his face, and he had this huge beard on that covered almost his entire face as this really good disguise. Like I could, if I hadn't heard his voice and seen everything else, like if I had just been someone that wasn't a fan of his, that didn't know him, I would have had no idea. Well, not a fan that didn't know him, but wasn't as familiar with him. Um, then I would have had no idea it was him. And he comes up to us and just starts talking and congratulates us, and takes a picture with us and everything. I have the picture around somewhere. I'm gonna have to see if I can put it in here. But you really can't tell it's him. You had to have been there to know. And it was crazy. And I, but I mean, I just remember thinking like that was really nice. Like he didn't have to say anything. He said, "Oh, I get that a lot that I'm Chris Cornell." He could have just left. I mean, but no, he actually came up and congratulated us. Was super nice, and that really stuck with me, because you hear all these stories about these rock stars that are all full of themselves and they think they're better than everybody else, and it's just it just they let fame change them, and he didn't seem like that kind of guy. He'd been around for a long time. This was a couple years ago, and I think that says a lot about the kind of person he was. I didn't know him personally, of course. I met him that one time. I got to see him on a solo tour about 5 years ago, which was amazing. One of the best shows I've ever seen. I remember something like that too. Something from that show I remember too is that there was a kid in the crowd. I think he was about 15 or 16, and he had a sign that said, "Let me sing Hunger Strike with you." And Chris saw the sign, and he pulled him up on stage, and he let him sing Eddie Vedder's part on Hunger Strike. And it was awesome. It was a great experience. Like everybody was really like happy for that kid and everything. I thought that was so cool that he would do that. And He was real funny about it, like he played another song or two and was like, I think I might just let Spencer, that was his name, I might let just Spencer finish up. He was really good. And just his whole demeanor, he seemed like a really cool, oh, hello focus. He seemed like a really cool, fun-loving guy and a real nice guy, and like, um, oh, hold on there, buddy. And and he was just, and I mean, and that's not even talking about him as a singer, as a vocalist, I mean, I think one of the all-time greats. I put him up there with like Freddie Mercury, Bruce Dickinson, um, God, I mean, Ian Gillan. There's some of these guys that had this incredibly powerful voices that would just take over. I mean, when you're listening to a song, you're not listening to the guitars, the drums, the bass. You're not listening to anything else. You're just focused in on their voice because it takes over. It takes hold. He says, "Listen to me right now. I'm yelling in your face, and you're gonna listen, and it's gonna be awesome." Um, and I think just with Chris, like it wasn't only, and the other thing with Soundgarden, it wasn't only that, but they were a real super group in that just some of the stuff they would come up with, the strange alternate tunings, the guitar riffs, that Matt Cameron on the drums, Ben Shepherd and just kind of hanging around playing the bass. I mean, they were one of a kind. Chris was one of a kind. Soundgarden was one of a kind, and I think that's one of the other things that makes this so shocking and so sad is that they were one of the all-time greats. He was one of the all-time greats, and um, it's just I'm in shock. I don't. This doesn't even sit in you, and I just don't even know what to say. What else to say. Um, and there's my cat. Um, so I mean, I just kind of wanted to make this short kind of video to mention some of my memories and how I'm gonna remember Chris and Soundgarden and just the profound effect they had on me. Hold on there, buddy. Because I mean, I've been singing for almost 15 years now, and Chris was always one of my biggest influences. I wanted to have that power in my voice. I wanted to have the vibrato. I wanted to have the range. He was a total package. He had everything you would want in a vocalist, and that's not even speaking to his ability as a rhythm guitarist, as a lyricist, a songwriter. I mean, just a complete and total legend in all of those degrees. Just uh, far surpassing anyone else. Of this era and of many people in other eras. Um, and it's just sad. I mean, I thought that they were working on a new album. They had this whole tour going on, and when I saw them 2 weeks ago, he just destroyed it. He sounded amazing. His voice sounded excellent. It just sounded perfect. It nailed all the songs. It was a real treat getting to hear him play some of like the lesser known tracks that they had on Echo of Miles, like um, Kyle Petty, Son of Richard, was one of my favorites and one of the really underrated Soundgarden songs out there that they play that was really cool. I know on this tour they'd be playing All Your Lives from Ultra Mega OK, which they hadn't played in, God, I think about 25 years. And they were still fresh. They still like change it up. They still like going out and touring and performing and putting out an awesome show for people. And I think really that's what music is all about. You have this interaction with a different crowd every night when you go out and tour, and it's a very special moment. And they respected that. A lot of bands, I think, don't respect that they get to tour for a living. They get to play for all these different people, and they take it for granted. And they don't realize what an experience this is for each person in the crowd that paid money to see them, that traveled, some people across country, across continents, to come see the show. They had a profound respect for that, and I really respect that. Um, I mean, I just don't know what else to say. I want to. One of the first things that popped into my mind is that I mean, it's crazy because it's 15 years since Lane Staley died, and there's a tribute in Seattle every year for him. And now, I mean, I'm sure Chris is going to be involved in that too. Being one of the voices of Seattle. And what I would like to do is I think I'd love to do a cover of Say Hello to Heaven for Chris. Um, so I mean, if anyone watching this is interested, I'd love to work with anybody on that. You know, I would want to do the vocals, all the vocals on that, and just see what happens. So I mean, I always love that song. It's such a beautiful song. And to think now that, you know, not only is Andy Wood going to be tied to that song, but Chris as well. Um, and one of Chris's greatest achievements, writing that song, the whole Temple of the Dog project, you know, and I'm happy that they got back together to play a tour, a small tour last year, you know, and play that amazing album in its entirety. But I love to do a couple covers. Um, you know, maybe if they go well, donate the proceeds to charity if people are willing to watch them and um, want to donate for whatever it may be, um, whether it's drug rehab, like for all the money that's donated to Lane's charity, or something else. You know, what I mean, I guess if there's more information that comes out, maybe there's something that was involved in Chris's death that that some good can come out of. I think that's the most important thing. Is on days like this, it's really easy to get depressed and feel hopeless, but it's days like this that it's days like this that there's still a lot of good that can come out. There's still a lot of positive things. There's a lot of good that can be done. So this is just the beginning. You know, it's a sad fact that Chris Cornell is gone, but we can still make a lot of happiness out of this for other people. We can help a lot of people. I think that's the most important thing to remember. So, if you're a member of the Soundgarden fans Facebook group, which I run, I'm kind of asking everyone to post their favorite memories, to post their uh, favorite songs, favorite experiences, like how Chris and Soundgarden affected them. So if you want to put those down in the comments, please do that. If you want to go in the group and share anything in there, by all means, please do. You know, let's make this a day to celebrate Chris's life because I think that's how we would have wanted. And he had an amazing life. He was an amazing vocalist, an amazing person. I think that's something we should celebrate. You know, let's make this a happy day. Um, but I think that's about it for me. So. Um, So thank you for watching, guys.